his inspiration.
Yes.
Queen Mother, Leora!
Yes!
No, they'll be down in time. I'll take care of some interviews and some other activities. While you are standing and while you are acknowledging those who have been important for our community, I think it will be important and crucial for us to stand and have a profound moment of silence for the ancestors whose shoulders we stand on, the bridges who allowed us to cross over many hostile waters. A profound moment of silence. Madasi P, many thanks. Thank you. First and foremost, let me say, Aquaba. Welcome to Harlem on the Hill, City College. You may be seated. Important happens in the African world without acknowledging the ancestors. And one of the important instruments for that acknowledgement is the drum. Now, I don't see our drums. Are they still there? Can we have appropriate drumming so our ancestors will know we're here for something serious? Yeah. We're here to get reaffirmed and rededicate ourselves to the enormous struggle that our people have been about. And don't hesitate to raise the roof. Okay. Here. Many of you have been a part of the special struggle that the United African Movement has waged, particularly in making sure that the dignity of our children, our daughters, our families is respected. And so we're glad to have you come together again as family. I feel the spirit and power that you represent, so I'm glad to be with you here at City College. There's been a horrible gentrification and whitening of the hill. Yes. And it's not just in the buildings. It's heavily in the institutions. And this institution is one that is moving in that direction. We'll have a special meeting on that at another time. But we're a part of a continuation of a great struggle. So the theme for me is Aluta continua. The struggle continues. And that understanding needs to be fully appreciated, because if there wasn't our struggle, we would not be here. And if we do not struggle, our generations in the future will not be here. So the question of struggle is center stage for what we're about. One of the symbols of our struggle is an anthem, and we refer to it as the Black National Anthem. And can we stand as we pay respect to the creative genius of our brother who created the Black National Anthem, and our Queen Mother, Sister, Mother, Grandmother, Judy McNeil, as she leads us in the Black National Anthem. There's a special sister, y'all. So she's not only going to lead us in song, but she's been leading us in struggle. How you support your leaders, how you involve your family, how do you take care of serious business? So this is a special sister. So as we sing with her, let's let her know that we appreciate what she's all about.
Thank you, my brother. May we join all of our voices, each and every one of us, as you sing with each other, with me in tow. Can we do that? Yes. I'd like to hear that. Lift every voice and sing till rings with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise. Our listening skies, let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the way that the Lord has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun, our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
Along with the distinguished medical genius in our community, Dr. Arthur Lewis. As I was entering the building, coming down the stairs was a special pillar of strength who is now being challenged, and we're going to have to support him in various ways. Our brother Beatty. Ever, Sister Sybil Williams. She's a youngster. She said 66.
That's right, just getting started.
Just getting moving. Just getting grooving.
Not even middle age yet.
The drumming that I mentioned before is a part of African culture in such a significant way. And the drum is a special spiritual force, a special military force for us in our culture. Nobody raised the drum higher for the African world in modern terms of our enormous struggle to restore our Africanness than our great ancestor, Ola Tunje. When I was in Brazil at a conference and the people were disrespectful as I was making a keynote address, he began to drum and drum this Brazilian audience into silence so that a proper respect could be made. He did not move to this world by himself, he moved with a family. He moved with a partner. And so we need to acknowledge the partner of our brother, Olatunji. Can we have her? Community, she may not even be acknowledged by you, but audience, whenever they see her, should give her a special nod, a special crossing of the heart to encourage her, to encourage us to keep on keeping on. One of our sisters who's very significant in the movement, called the UAM, and who is by the side of our first family, our royal family, the Maddocks, doing the grunt work, doing the important work, knowing that she has a special role to play. And so she has been designated to welcome us. Our beautiful sister, very spiritual force among us, very strong mind and spirit, representing the best of our female tradition. We don't have a mic, so you're going to have to pay attention. Sister Geneva Butts, to welcome you.
Hotep brothers and sisters. It's wonderful to see all of you here and to know that after 20 years, you're still as determined as ever that there should be justice for Tawana Brawley. You should give yourselves a hand that you're making history. Because this country, I guess this world, is not used to Africans like us being persistent, staying on the case, and insisting on justice as we have. And we will continue to do that. This is an appropriate place to have this celebration because City College has been a battleground. And Dr. Jeffrey certainly knows of that. On the 10th anniversary, we were at Bethany Baptist Church, where Glenda Brawley was in sanctuary. And things are changing very rapidly. Dr. Jones is no longer with us. He made his transition. But we will continue this fight. And I could see by the turnout here that you are as determined as ever to see that justice is done. Tawana was the victim, but we are the target, and we should keep that in mind. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, my sister Butts. And for our assembled family here, key members of the village of Harlem, you should know that the Brawley family has been subject to the most dehumanizing and humiliating process that a family can suffer, but they have come through that struggle with even greater strength, and all the members of the family are doing well. Are doing well. Struggle strengthens, and struggles allow you to persevere and to prevail. And certainly the support given by so many of us, led by Attorney Alton Maddocks, has helped that family. Now we're blessed to know that what we're doing is not just for us, but it's for the babies. Tawana Brawley was a symbol of our work on behalf of the babies, our future. And so we're blessed to have leading us one of the babies of UAM. And her mom and grandmom is looking at us and saying, she's no longer a baby. She's growing into womanhood now. And I'm calling out for some of y'all to gather around me and give me some help. Because truly takes a village to raise a growing African child, particularly a precocious princess, queen mother, potential woman. Can we acknowledge this lovely young lady, this African princess, Lenora?
I'm going to recite the UNIA pledge by the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garden.
Can we stand? This is not function yet.
I commit my body, mind, and spirit to the protection, defense, and security of the red, black, and green. I dedicate my life to the redemption of Mother Africa and the liberation of the scattered black children. I accept for myself and my descendants the teachings of universal African nationalism, and I promise that our children will be instilled with the purpose and knowledge of themselves as African people, in order that the cause of our struggle will neither fall to no fail until all black people are free and united through one God, one aim, and one destiny.
All right. Justice burns like an eternal flame. We have tape. Take all the pain which the world has known, its bitterness and care, then add to it all of your own, and you'll have the Negro share. Take all the light from the golden sun, each little ray of heart, the laugh of the stream, the song of the bird, and you'll have a Negro's heart. There's no peace, teaching his people to search for truth, teaching his people to search for truth, teaching his people to search for truth. The truth will set us free. Are you ready? Walton Maddox. Walton Maddox, our attorney, and boy, sing it out loud. Walton Maddox, our attorney at war. Walton Maddox, our attorney at war. No justice, no. Ready, go. Walton Maddox, our attorney at war. Walton Maddox, our attorney at war. Walton Maddox, our attorney. No justice. No justice. No peace. What is he doing? Teaching his people. Teaching his people to search for truth. Teaching his people to search for truth. Teaching his people to search for truth. No justice. No. Last time, everybody, go. Walton Maddox, our attorney at war. Can you believe that? Walton Maddox, our attorney at war. Walton Maddox, our attorney at war. No justice, no peace.
Sing the glory, and the coming of the Lord. Mine eyes have seen the glory, and the coming of the Lord. And he was with Alton, raising his mighty sword, his truth is marching on. We have to realize that this is not just a struggle, it's a sacred mission.
Yes, indeed.
And that you need as much spiritual clout and power as possible to be about this war.
Yes, you do.
And just struggling for truth and justice, you won the war. But you got to do a whole lot more in order to enjoy the fruits of victory. And so that's why we've come 20 years since the inauguration of this particular struggle, representing another stage of our many, many struggles. But we also have to recognize the milestones when they occur. And this is a 20-year milestone. It's important. Sister Liz has had a 63-year milestone. It's important. 66. I was trying to push it down, trying to get a little younger. And none of us have been able to do it by ourselves. We've partnered with others. We've worked with our families and our communities. We've built institutions. And this particular week, Dr. Leonard Jeffries and Dr. Rosalind Jeffries, Nana Kwekujua Ajiman II of the Agogo Stool in Ashanti, and Nana Abibio of the Golden Stool in Ashanti and the Elmina Stool. This particular week, in fact, tomorrow, we will be celebrating our 43rd anniversary together. My partner for 40-umpteen years, if she would join me in front of our... Yes. They love the Alton-Maddoxes of the world, but they know, as I said before, Alton could not do it. He could not do it. It would not be worth his doing it if he didn't have a queen mother by his side, who is ready to give her life for him and their children and their grands. And it's not quite as it's kept us. So this is the type of sacrifice that takes a marriage to a special level, and the Jeffries have been trying to experience that type of thing over these years. I see a couple of old couples in the place, and they're always together, and I'm looking at the Fullers right now. Put your hands in the air. Others of you. And we will be mentioning them as we proceed with our activities. And so, before we get into the 20-year acknowledgement of the struggle around Tawana Brawley, Frederick Douglass said it best: if there is no struggle, there is no progress. And we would not have had what we had here at City College, the largest African studies program in the history of the world, if it wasn't for enormous struggle. And those who were part of that struggle at City College and also in the City University, we want to acknowledge. And so at this point, we will be having what we're referring to as remembering the scholar warriors, those who use their skills to contribute to this great struggle African peoples have been engaged in over these last 500 or more years in restoring our Africanness. And on this hill in Harlem, there was a special African village created that nourished tens of thousands of young people who came through our midst, sat at our feet, were nurtured by the activities that we were involved in. And so, Rosin, could you read the first name that we...
Remembering the Scholar Warriors, Professor Eugenia Bain.
Professor Bain was an African spirit. Her family came up from a little island called Barbados, the most English of the islands. In fact, Barbados is sometimes called more English than the English. But from that African source, Professor Bain reached out to the African continent and bonded with the African continent and became a queen mother in the Agogo area, where my wife and I, Brother X, Professor Smalls, Imhotep Gary Bird, and a whole host of others have become a part of their traditional society. So we remember Professor Eugenia Bain and the work that she did for us here at the college, as well as the United African Movement.
Dr. John Henry Clark.
Who's still among us. I'm sure he's there watching us. Dr. Clark, forgive them for they don't know.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
But Dr. Clark, we gotta get up and stand up on our feet and raise our hands high. There was no one the struggle for the African mind. Dr. Clark led legions in winning this war, intellectual warfare, that he was the master of. And so we've had enormous victories, and we need to acknowledge it. He had his lieutenant colonels who were continuing in that war. And the next brother we would want to acknowledge represents those lieutenant colonels.
Dr. Asa Hilliard III.
We were blessed to have been with the brother in Ghana this past summer and also joined him in Kemet when he made his transition. Certainly, he followed the tradition of Dr. Clark, and he became the best among us. And so whenever the word, the name of Asa Hilliard is raised, you need to pay close attention. In fact, at his transition, Dr. Wade Noble said, we need to make him a part of our culture, not just in ceremonial terms, but in everyday terms. As we see each other and we talk about struggle, we need to say, brother and sister, have you properly Asa-fied today? All right. The Asa thing. The brother taught us how to be African, and in his transition, he taught us how to die African. Amen. We've been blessed to have him as a part of the family. On Saturday, his family will be with us here in Harlem, on the hill, further up the hill at 155th Street. The First World Alliance, our great forum for community knowledge and understanding, is bringing in the family of Dr. Hilliard. That will include his queen mother wife, Patsy Jo Hilliard. It will include his youngest daughter, Trish, and it will include her husband, Attorney Nunn. So if you get a chance to come to the First World on Saturday at 2 o'clock, I believe it is, you'll have a chance to experience this great family. In the evening after 5, my wife and I are making arrangements to celebrate our 43rd. And so we hope that some of you can join us at Clark House after the First World activity. And of course, an important part of our speaking our special truth to you is to appreciate not only the Dr. Clarks and the Dr. Benns, but the Asa Hilliards. 50 years, him and his wife were together. That's an extraordinary understanding of love. He went to Africa not just for trips. He went to engage in Africa, to help with nation building. He and she and their children spent 7 years in Liberia building the educational system. So these are the things that we cannot forget. We constantly have to remind ourselves of our strengths so that we can continue to go forth. Our next brother.
Professor William Mackey.
Professor William Mackey, and I have a shopping bag in the back that I brought some books down and stuff from upstairs. And whenever I see a shopping bag, I think William Mackey. He traveled everywhere with a shopping bag full of African knowledge to wipe you out. Those were his weapons. Up from Florida and Georgia, the Sea Islands, he found a place in Manhattan and in Brooklyn and in the African world. Bill Mackey was a part of the family here on the Hill.
Dr. Shasi McIntyre.
One of the great contributions of Dr. Shashi McIntyre was her work criminalizing a race. And we need to understand that concept, because when you see the attacks on our people, not only our young men, but our lawyers, our leaders, there's a criminalizing of our race that has been going on since this so-called American colony to become a nation was founded. And the genocide of the Native Americans and African peoples followed in its wake. So we are indebted to Shashi for being a special support and spirit for all of us in our struggles. And of course, that struggle, of course, is the key to it is the reawakening of the African mind. And that's what this particular work by Dr. Hilliard is entitled, The Reawakening of the African Mind. And we certainly have been about that. No brother was more significant in the reawakening than the next individual we want to acknowledge,
Dr. Amos Wilson.
Nothing more can be said except everybody should have several copies of Blueprint for Black Power and should be studying it with your families and your organizations. Blueprint for Black Power by Dr. Amos Wilson, our great brother. Now we'll continue with the program because we still have important activities to present to you, and is our it could not be complete without the mentioning of Professor Edward Scobie. And when Alton was filling out the program, he held up the name of Scobie because they wanted to be sure of the spelling. And so when I affirmed that the spelling of the last name was S-C-O-B-I-E, then there was an attempt to get that in. But of course, my 25 years or so at this college in building the largest black studies program in the world could not have been done without our Professor Edward Scobie by my side. Coming from one of the smallest islands in the Caribbean, he had the largest Pan-African consciousness and heart. And he moved around the world, whether in England, whether in the Caribbean, whether in America, with that understanding. The understanding that Dr. Clark said so well to us, and I'm saying to you. The question is, Pan-Africanism or perish? Reparations now. And I'm glad Mother Kefa was able to pull me back and make sure that I did not miss the brother. I had grabbed his work that he produced and was published in one of our newspapers here. And this is Reparations for African Peoples, Professor Edward Scobie, a paper prepared for the Pan-African Conference in Abuja, Nigeria. And we were not able to go because we were in a legal battle fighting for the city college. But certainly the concept of Pan-Africanism or perish, reparations now, is an important part of the contribution that the Dr. Clarks and the Professor Scobies have made to us. Marquis, a tall young man, handsome and brilliant, and a warrior that we've got to depend upon. Can he stand before the village and make his contribution?
First and foremost, I want to say it is an honor for me to be here. I was invited by Ms. Karen Mason and Alternative Maddox. I'm an entertainer, I'm an R&B singer, and this song that I was asked to sing, A Change Is Gonna Come, is a song that touches my heart and has actually propelled my career and my life in general. So anytime I'm asked to sing this song, I'm very honored and it's very privileged. How's everybody feeling tonight? Everybody feeling good? That's good, that's good, that's good. I was born by the river in a little tent, and oh, just like the river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, and I know a change is going to come.
Yes.
It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die, 'cause I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. Said it's been a long time coming, and I know a change is going to come. Now I've gone to the movies, and I've gone downtown, but somebody keep telling me don't you hang around. Said it's been a long time coming, and I know the change is gonna come. See, when I go to my brother and I ask him, brother, can you help me please? And he winds up knocking me. I get on my knees and oh, there have been times I thought I didn't think I'd last too long, but now I know I'm able to carry on. Said it's been a long time coming, and I know the change is gonna come. Said it's been a long time coming, and I know the change is gonna come.
Well, young man, we got to have you back. Yeah. You know, isn't it good to have a good And we are blessed to have a powerful melanized force who's been moving through the world with a great crusade to restore a brother who has been criminalized, but he represents the best of us. Strong mind, strong spirit, intellectual genius, and none other than Panther. From inside,
Yes,
the voice
sir.
of
Yes.
Mumia Abu-Jamal.
Yes, sir.
You know
Honorable, thank you, baby. I was sitting here listening. I had no idea that brother was talking about me. But it's good being home with family. My brother Abdul in the background, and made sure that both of us got here because we had to be around family tonight. And Tawana Broadway case is something that's very, very dear to me. And as is, family, here. So, we had to be here. But I want to bring you up to date real fast with what's happening with Mumia. Again, we had these people pinned up against the wall. When I called Kathleen Cleaver the other night to talk about what was going on, she said, girl, they digging way down at the bottom of the barrel. They scraping, trying to find a way out of this problem that they've caused. Mumia is due to come to court any day now. When those people that was with us on May 17th, scared this government to death. It was on a Thursday. Mumia had to go before the federal courts, his lawyers did. These people spent years, big money and time on tearing this movement apart. But long as John Africa, 26 years, we're stronger right here on the front line. What these people are doing now, our fear, they have Daniel Faulkner's wife, Maureen Faulkner, and a lawyer, CNN TV person named Michael Smirkanish. They got together and did a book called Murdered by Mumia, A Life of Agony. In promoting this book, they call Mumia a thug. Okay? Number one, that description doesn't describe Mumia at all like murderer does. The FBI have been in Mumia's records, for years. They get COINTELPRO papers on it. Thug is not there. What they're doing now is trying to not convince you or me of what's going on, but all those who don't know. And to also send a message to the judges like we sent one on May 17th when we were there in full force on a Thursday, okay? These people are afraid of this movement and they're desperately trying to stop the information from flowing, okay? They're going to be on Today's Show on December the 6th. The blonde-haired woman, we know the story too well, blonde-haired, blue eyes, and she's on there crying, and because she knows Mumia murdered her husband. Well, a lot of people got upset with me, and they were saying, I can't say what I'm getting ready to say, and but I can say it here. She's a lying bitch. I don't use that word, okay? I have a lot of, MF is mine. But that one, I don't do. But anytime you have a woman that has stepped up and said, after all these years and all the information that we have put out, this woman got caught lying 3 times. Number one, she said, Mumia shirt, the day that they brought her husband's shirt in, full of blood, dried blood. And Mumia turned and looked at her and he smiled. And she had to leave out the courtroom. The problem with that was Mumia wasn't in the courtroom the day that she said it. That was blown up. We got that one cleared out. The second one she said was that someone, of Mumia's supporters, spit on her in City Hall. And I said, where's the body? Or where's the person that wished they had finished the job and killed them all the way? Can you imagine one of us spitting, or if it was a white one, spitting on that woman, Daniel Faulkner's wife, when the whole entire government is out to protect that lie that she's telling? They're doing this book. Not only are they going to be on Today's Show, they're going to be on every right, white wing show that there is. And to try to convince these judges that we convinced that the whole world is watching what's going on here, because we had the world in that courtroom and on the outside. What makes these fools think that we can't do this again? You know, what makes them think that when they wrote the book that said how Mumia duped millions into thinking he was innocent, they know that there's millions who know he is innocent. Here they come along 26 years later, and 26 years he's been in jail. And the last minute ditch stating that, putting her on TV. What can we do? On December the 6th, I'm asking everybody to watch that show. They lied, because I asked them, can we have equal time? I'm talking about equal time. I'm not talking about 10 minutes for them to tell a story and then they give us a minute and a half to respond. We don't play that game. We want equal time. She'll be on there December the 6th. We'll take December the 7th. And if they got a problem with that, we'll take that following Monday. But it's no way in the world we gave them all the information that everybody here knows. They should not be allowed to get away with it. I had the phone number in the back. I had a phone number, or just call the Today Show. Let them know what you know and demand that we get equal time. Thank everybody, because I can go on and on about what's happening here. I got papers to pass around with my phone number on it. Please use it, and let's stay on the move. And we got these suckers pinned to a wall, not just for Mumia. Like this fight for Tawana, it's not the fight for Tawana. I know it's the fight for me. I know it's the fight for my children. I know it's the fight for my brother. So I say, this is the right place to be. And I love coming here because the warriors is here. I never forget what they said about the people that followed Alton Maddox when they came into Filthy Death here. They said, them people are crazy. They are out their mind. You don't know what to expect from them. And that's what we are. And because I'm saying, they say it's a crazy person that will stand up against this government. I'm a crazy ass person because it's right to stand up against it. Suicide when you don't. On the move, long live revolution.
Melanized power can come into some small packages. It's definitely dynamite.
All right.
And of course, we saw a melanized power walk in with her son, Sister Carol Taylor. I know what melanized power is and what it can do because I've been living with it for 40 plus years. Queen Mother Rosalind Jeffries, Nana Abivio.
I just want to remind you that you have an obligation to fight with these warriors in person.
Yes, ma'am.
To come when they say give a particular date. But very often people are talking about, oh, the ancestors, call the name of the ancestors.
Yes.
But that is not enough. The ancestors will come, they live in you, but they want an particular date and a particular hour.
Yes.
You know how the old folks in the bush down south and in Africa used to use the term pray on it, or pray on a person, or pray on a situation?
Yes, ma'am.
That's the time to call the ancestors and give them assignment.
Yes, ma'am.
Assignment to go to the television studio
Yes, ma'am.
and do thus and thus
All right.
on behalf of Mumia. You see? Because the power is so strong in here, you can cut it with a knife.
Yeah.
And you know it.
Yes.
But it has to be orchestrated and given direction. And so that we have been lax in following the old traditions of our people, standing up for righteousness with a plan. So that's why Leonard said, blueprint for black power, a plan. But we who come together here knowing specific issues, whether it's related to the children being thrown in special ed, we need a committee to pray on people who do that to our children. We need specific ancestors as guardian ancestors where we give an assignment to go and follow specific children by name. You understand? And then to see the miracles that can come about. I remember BrotherRonn Tied, House of the Lord Church, and she got up, and they said they wanted her to pour libation. She said she ain't pouring libation. She said, those ancestors are tired of you. Tired of you. And that is what she meant, that we must be more concrete. You know what's called the ghost dance in history? And I'm going to stop now. You know I'm Jeffrey, so I've got to be careful. I'm talking about the ghost dance in Native American history was when the power, they got together and the power was so strong until it was as if the whole earth would quake and come about from the Native American chants. They would go down, and all of that heavy, bringing out stuff that's in them. And we do that too. We got it. We know that tradition. But when the white folks saw this, they wanted some of that power, and they would get in to do the Native American ghost dance. And then one day, they discovered what the ghost dance was. It was calling in the warrior ancestors who were killed by the whites, and that's why it was such power. And so therefore, we must be conscious of the things that we do and say, the dates, the times, and the places, participating with our own bodies and minds, but also calling on the innate power that God gave us when we live a good and righteous life.
Amen.
I like that concept. In fact, I'm going to put it to work as soon as I can. When I get home, I got a magazine at home that just came in the mail last week, and it's Ebony Magazine. And on it is Michael Jackson and all his makeover and transformation. So I'm going to pray on Paul Robertson to come after his buck and try to push him back into the African continent. You know, I got some young ladies who can't but show their behinds in the wrong way. I'm going to try to find whether Harriet Tubman can catch up with their buck. Take them out of here. You know? And of course, we got Malcolm. He's saying, I got something for all of y'all. I'm going to chase every one of y'all. So we need to bring these ancestors and these important parts of our history into our lives. The next part of our program will include our sister Liz again. But before she does come, there's another melanized force and power among us in a tiny package. And it's a double dose. It's the male and the female, the mama and the papa. And they're going through a giant trial and tribulation. And I'm talking about our brother, this little melanized package with his great sister. I'm talking about Ilambe Breath. They need all of our prayers. African traditional prayers, some Caribbean prayers that y'all might have with the obia or something that y'all got from the island. We need some Brazilian prayers, some Zumbi prayers. We need some prayers from the Congo, because nobody raised the Congo more with Patrice Lumumba than Ilambe Breath. Both him and his wife are fighting for their African lives. And so we need to send our best out to them and hope that they can make the type of recovery that we need to have them continue to be a part of the continuing struggle of African peoples to restore their Africanity. Ilambe Breath and his sister, his Queen Mother's sister, Nelson. At this time, we will have our sister, Professor Elizabeth Anderson, return.
Oh, freedom! Oh, freedom! Oh, freedom! Freedom over me! Oh, freedom! Oh, freedom! Freedom over me! Oh, freedom! Oh, freedom! Oh, freedom! Freedom ain't never been free. Freedom ain't never been free. My mom and daddy were Ashanti from Ghana land. That made me and my sisters and brothers pure African. The blood of Queen Mother Ashanti ran through my veins. Her spirit guided and protected me from all the years of my pain. Although I was a child born in slavery, I never lost sight of my dream to be free. My God didn't put this here woman on earth to be no slave. So in order to get my freedom, I had to be brave. But freedom wasn't enough just for me. I had to make free my own family. I told my husband, John, please come go with me. John said, no way, Harriet, I was already free. Then I told my brothers, come, let's flee. They said, oh yes, Lord, and they came with me. But when we stole away from the plantation that night, my brothers got to whimpering and cowering with fright. They said, Harriet, let's go back. We don't know what lies ahead. No way, brothers, I said. Before I go back, I'd rather be dead. My brothers hauled back to the plantation without looking back, whilst I kept on going north, making up my own railroad track. They trusted the plantation master more than me. They were too scared to take back their right to be free. The slave master made sure that none of us ever learned to read or write. So I traveled by the North Star, never letting it out of my sight. The good Lord helped me to finally reach the free soil. My body was tired, but there was more for me to toil. So I went back down south 19 more times, each time bringing back more of my kind. I was only 5 feet tall and often very sickly, but we never got caught because we moved very quickly. I wasn't scared of slave catchers or some old Uncle Tom, because I kept my trusty rifle right here in my arm. I helped 300 Africans reach free land. I couldn't have done this without God's right hand. My people called me Moses because they thought I was brave. I could have freed more if they'd only known they were slaves. I was a soldier in the Union Army, a nurse and a cook. I was a scout and a spy, and more Africans I took for the plantations and the roadsides and other places they could hide. I was weary, but I couldn't stop to mope. My people weren't free because they could not vote.
The children needed school so they could read and write, so I kept on keeping on and not stopping the fight. Some of the children had no mother or father, so to live with me weren't no bother. The old folks too needed a nice place to stay, so I made them a home where they did not have to pay. Then came one early evening when as I lay in my bed, I heard God's voice, and this is what he said. My daughter Harriet, you have taken care of your people as long as you lived. Now come home with me now, for rest and peace to you I now give. As I closed my eyes in final peace and prayer, and our God carried me up the heavenly stairs, I said to my God, let my people know that freedom is not free. Let my people know that freedom is not free. Emancipation without compensation is not liberty. Woman, and her ancestral spirits here with us tonight, courtesy of Dr. Jeffries, Dr. Lennon, Dr. Rosalind Jeffries. So as you welcome our sister Harriet Tubman tonight, as you welcome all of our ancestors, we have to remember why we're here. We have to remember that freedom is not free. Now, we've heard the word free a few times tonight, haven't we?
Yes, ma'am.
Where's my sister from Philadelphia, Sister Panther?
Yeah, ma'am.
I'm so glad to have you in the house. I'm so glad. Just like Harriet Tubman toiled in the wilderness, and she went back time and time again to free our people, our brother Maddox has gone to the battlefield time and time and time and time again.
Yes.
For us.
Yes.
At a tremendous cost.
Yes.
Before I talk about the financial cost, let's just talk about the emotional cost, the psychological cost,
Yes.
the spiritual cost.
Yes.
And all the while, he and his family have been toiling in the vineyards. Some of us have been around saying, do all that you want to, I ain't gonna talk.
Yes.
Some of us have dug down deep and dug down deep and dug down deeper. Some of us have been even skeptical. If you don't know by now, the situation we are in this united hell of America, if you don't know by now, as the song says, you will never, never, never know. And for those of us who do know, okay, you know good and darn well, and if Pam was here, she said, you know good and goddamn well. But freedom is not free.
No.
Now, how do you expect, since we put all this work on the Maddox family, how in the world do you expect them to carry on the work that must be done with empty pockets?
That's right.
Okay? Now, while I'm talking, I want my sisters with the basses to come down front, and I want the drummers to give some money to the organization movement music, okay? While I talk to you about this. Now, if anyone here who really actually believes that an organization does not need funds, I would like to meet you outside. I got a big old car and I ain't got no license, right? Now, you know when we used to go to the Dempsey Center, I used to run up on the sidewalk, okay? Thank God for the brothers of Mosque who used to park for me. Now, the sisters are down here. They're not down here modeling, okay? They're not down here to say, hey, and give you a shout out. They're here for a very, very special reason. Now, if you look on your program, there's a word there that I cannot pronounce. The spelling is here, and I'm not even going to try phonetically. I don't have my reading glasses on. But words are very powerful. What this word here means, E-L-E-E-M-O-S-Y-N-A-R-Y. Can anybody pronounce that word? What it means is that you're supposed to, don't mean it, you're supposed to dig down deep, dig down a little bit deeper. Give some for your grandchildren, give some for your ancestors.
That a lot of Bobby Breath and his family are going through trials and tribulations and challenges. So there is a process of donations for them, and check out the Amsterdam or listen to WBAI to find out what that's all about. The activity for Dr. Asa Hilliard in his memory at the first row will be at the Prince Hall Masonic Lodge, Saturday. That's 155th, just off of St. Nicholas. For those of you who are interested in honoring our great brother and his family. And in the evening, my wife and I are arranging for activities at Clark House, which is 286 Compton Avenue, between 141st and 142nd. But if we do it and we work together, it will be a victory that we can really taste. As we sit here as an African family, significant part of the village here in Harlem, and the Harlems all over the world are being gentrified. And until we declare that this is sacred ground for African peoples and Native American peoples, and come up with a strategy on how to hold on to that which we've earned, and until we can learn to raise the question of reparations, what is owed us that they could never pay, we're not going to be able to neutralize this process of whiteness that's going on wherever we speak and wherever it's going on in the Caribbean. You're leaving the islands to come here to earn $1, and they're taking your grandfather's land. It's going on all over the African continent. And it's going on certainly throughout America and South America. So the struggle continues. We have to develop a plan. We have to come up with a formula for making it real. A brother who started here at City College in 1973. I came back, I was here in 69, and then I came back. I was here in 69 with Brother Smalls and Barbara Justice and a whole host of others, led a struggle that opened up not only City College, but the City University to our people. And it became the largest Black and Latino university in the world. But even though it has a Black and Latino population, they do not intend to educate that population with an African-centered worldview. So that struggle has to continue. And it's not about a Department of Black Studies like we had, or about the professors that we had. It's about a body of knowledge that's there universally. And the question is, you can tap into that knowledge and remake yourself into serious Africans, or you can tap away from it and become the Michael Jacksons and the Toyota and Janet Jacksons of the world. Tap into the African knowledge and transform yourself. A brother who has tapped into it has been everywhere. Everywhere I've been, he's been there. Everywhere Automatics went, he's been there. Every bit of the Tawana Brawley struggle, he was there. In the courtroom and out. He's been there when Ivan Van Sertima had his mind fully African and doing his work in Mexico. He has been everywhere our people have been and has recorded like nobody else the history of our struggles. And so we have to give a special kudos, a special rub on the behind, a special pat on the back to our brother, Minister Clemson Brown. Cooperation and your contributions. And we're going to try to finish up as strongly as we have been so far, and that involves,
I'll come back.
if you look at your program, after the presentation by Minister Brown, we will be, any of the resources that you do come up with are needed. In fact, freedom is not free, and these type of venues is not free as well. So even though it's a public institution, there are fees attached to cleaning up and having the security. So on the table and the door as you go out in the back is a plastic container. We're moving on to the bewitching hour, and the next part of the presentation is remembering activists in the struggle. And we want to quickly do that and at the same time be prepared for Attorney at War Automatics to make some reflections. Can we have some drumming to wake us up a little bit? We've gotten awful hot in here, but we will be out of here soon. They want to set us into the next stage of remembering the ancestors. Community. And so this Tawana Broly struggle has been a galvanizing part of our sacred mission.
Yes, sir.
And so we cannot forget all of you that have been involved and have contributed, and we want to be able to call upon you to continue your contributions because the struggle continues. We will end our activities tonight, and hopefully we can make this an annual activity in reference to the Broly struggle. And every month have something significant that brings us here. Because this has been a special, for me, a special uplifting moment that we've been able to bring the family here on this hill. There is nobody who stands taller. There's nobody who has a stronger spirit. There's nobody who's willing to make more sacrifices. There's nobody who reflects an African's power, sound mind. There's nobody who does not hesitate to challenge and look the devil in the eye, the Negroes in the eye, and even some of us Africans who ain't right. And the person who I'm speaking about stands tall, coming up from Georgia, where my father's folks come from. And part of our family name is Maddox. So you know I got a special feeling for this brother. And then of course he stands with his great family, led by Queen Mother Leola Maddox. Those of you who know me know that my mother's name was Leola. So, and all of us find ourselves in Teaneck, New Jersey, where Leola does some of her work. So it is a great pleasure for me. It is an honor. It is a duty. It is part of the sacred mission to welcome to our family this special spirit, attorney at war, Alton Maddox Jr.
For hosting this great evening. We could have not been more blessed to be anywhere other than here tonight. And I think it's particularly gratifying that Dr. Jeffries had the courage, the wisdom, and the insight to invite us here. Yes, and we are eternally grateful. I want to bring you greetings from the Brawley family.
Yes.
It would do Linda's heart good to have been here tonight. It has been nearly 20 years since Linda Brawley has set foot in New York. And I said that there were certain things that had to be done before we could even think about moving on. Because you can never move on. Because this is something that has to be resolved. The issues that we are fighting about are much broader than a Tawana Brawley.
Thank you. Thank you.
The issues that we are fighting about, one is the right of representation.
Yeah.
That's so real. One of the things that I noticed when I was in the defamation trial is that when it got to March of 1988, it really seemed like the federal authorities and the state authorities had decided to abandoned their investigation of Tawana in the sense of finding out who did it. To be very honest with you, I don't know where this was going to go, but they knew before March that Stephen Pagonis was involved in the kidnapping and rape of Tawana Brawley. They knew before March of 1988 that his Confederates, meaning Harry Christ's Confederates, had murdered him. They knew that. And then in the end of February, when Robert Abrams said that he had no suspect, when he said that, I knew then that this was a critical stage. Because if we had allowed him to go on without bringing up who had actually been involved in the kidnapping, rape, and Tawana Brawley, the case had been all over. So he was really challenging our manhood.
Yes, he was.
He was challenging us to take a dissenting opinion to what he had said. And so I had done the investigation, and I said in March of 1988, and I say tonight, that Stephen Pagonis was involved in the kidnap and rape of Tawana Brawley. Last week, Hannity and Cohen called me and said we would like for you to come on. I said, oh yeah? I was like, you know, I don't think so. Because you see, when I go on television, I go on for a purpose. You know, I don't go on just to have my face, you know, used to increase ratings for white people. You know, I have my own agenda. And so every time when they call me, you know, I have conditions. I'm not just one of those, you know, Negroes who immediately go out and brush their teeth and get their hair done, you know, and buy a new suit, you know, and get ready for something like that. That's not me. So when they call, I said, well, you know, actually, I'm not in New York now, which I wasn't. And they said, well, it doesn't matter where you are, because we have a studio nearby. You know, so wherever you are in the country, we can get you to a studio. I said, well, that may be true, but I would rather get home first. And the reason I was doing it because I was buying time. You know, because I had to realize what conditions was I really getting ready to impose upon you. So, you know, you have to think about those kind of things. So when I got back to New York, I said, well, you know, I'm very happy that you invited me. And I tell you, I'm looking forward to being there with you. I said, but in order for me to be there, and in fairness to Steve Pagonis, I would like him to be there too. I don't want to just be there alone. I want Steve there with me. All right, in terms of following fairness. And they said, well, yeah, we'll reach out to Steve and we'll get him in there. And I go, you will? Yeah, we'll get him in there. And so a couple of days later, they called back and they said, well, you know, really, you don't really need Steve. I mean, you can really do this without Steve. And we can do this program. I said, well, you know, you're right. I don't really need him, but I want him. All right. Even if I don't need, I want Steve. And they said, well, you know, to be quite honest about it, Steve said he would never appear on any radio or television program with you for the rest of his life. And I said, well, you know, that's not surprising because what I wanted to use the audience for was to stand up on that program and to say to Steve Pagonis, you did kidnap Tawana Brawley. You did rape Tawana. Tawana Brawley. Your wife knew it. Everybody else knew it. All right, and that's why you're by yourself today. All right, as a result of that. And so, obviously, that wouldn't happen. Because you see, the reality of it is that, people come up to you all the time and say, well, you're not on television anymore. And I said, yeah, but that's for good reasons. You see, back then, we were doing these kinds of things, but now the stakes are high. And the stakes are serious. You see, and we are living in a police state. All right, we're living in a police state, and so many of the people that have been with us are not here tonight because they have sold out to the police. You see, and the reason why terrorism on the rise because the police know there's no resistance in it. You see, and so as a result, there's being no resistance because they have bought everybody out. Now, we spent a lot of time and money over the last few weeks talking personally to every black selected official. I don't say elected official. Black selected official. You have to be very clear about your terms and the language that you use. All right, every black selected official in this city was called and written to and cajoled many times to be here tonight. It's no accident that nobody showed up. It's no accident that nobody showed up. Because, you see, Tawana Brawley is the dividing line. It's the dividing line. People cannot afford because the whole police apparatus, and when Pam got and started talking about Mamia, what people don't realize is that there is a connection between Tawana Brawley and Mamia Abu-Jamal. You see, in both cases, you're talking about the police. In both cases. In both cases, there's a war going on against the police. And too many of our people are not prepared to go down that road. Because that's a very serious road. You see, with me, and I think that sometimes when you look at a person, you say, what makes them tick? You have to understand that in my life, as a child, the police chief of Newnan, Georgia, was Laurie Pritchard. Now, to some of us, that name may not mean a whole lot. But Laurie Pritchard left Newnan and went to Albany, Georgia. And Laurie Pritchard was there when Dr. King got there. All right, in Albany. I know a whole lot about police terrorism. I know a whole lot about it. See, it's nothing alien to me because as a teenager, I was brutally beaten by the police. And spent more than 2 weeks in Spalding Hospital in Atlanta, Georgia. As a result of that. So I've had these police encounters. And then, when it first started, people would say, well, Maddox don't like the police. All right, like there's something wrong with not liking the police. All right, so they said, well, Maddox don't like the police. And so, and it began to be, well, he got a thing against the police. All right, and then you see the Katherine Johnson on Neal Street in Atlanta, fired more than 100 shots. And then you see Sean Bell. And then you see Amadou Diallo. Yes, sir. You see, and it is increasing. You see, and when you shoot somebody 50 times, that's not by accident. Right. That's not by accident. And I want to say these few things and we're going to be gone. We are no longer investigating the acts against us. See, that's what the problem is. See, we don't have the detectives who, when something happens, we go out and investigate. If we had those detectives, we would have found out that there's a death squad in New York City. And that they choose, pre-select people. That there's a reason why those cops was up there at Amadou Diallo.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that. There's a reason why they banged up Sean Bell. See, don't think that they just happened to be in that club that night with no reason. Sean Bell was not coming out of that club under no circumstances. Because the police went in there to take him out. And I'm not telling you what I think, I'm telling you what I know. All right? But since I'm not representing the Bell family, and since I don't have any standing in this matter, so to speak, then I have to keep my views to myself. You see, but my job is to investigate crimes. See, every time there's a crime that takes place in the black community of note, I go out and investigate it. And I still do. That's the reason why we found out about Stephen Pagonis. Because I went up there to kind of investigate the case. So when I said Stephen Pagonis was involved in kidnapping, rape with Tawana Brawley, and that Harry, Chris, and others were involved, I knew that from my own investigation. The struggle today is not what I have investigated, it's what in their files. And you have the state of New York telling us it's a hoax, but at the same time, they got Tawana's file in Fort Knox. They will release anything other than Tawana Brawley's file, because once Tawana's files are released, the whole judicial system in this state collapses. All right? That's what this struggle is about. This struggle is not about some ambulance chaser and some media hound getting involved in cases for money and publicity. See, we have gone from Charles Hamilton Houston and Malcolm X and Dr. King to ambulance chasers and media hounds. And when we try to ask ourselves, well, why is this not stopping? Because we no longer put people in front of us who walks in the footsteps of those who came before us. That's why we're in the condition we're in. Anytime that you don't understand the need to have a Malcolm X today, not just in 1965, but to have a Malcolm X today, and to have a Dr. King today, and to have a Charles Hamilton Houston today, then you can't fight this struggle. Because you're going to always have people like that. And if they're not around, you got to manufacture them. You can't go out there with something less than what came before you. You can't go out there with less than a Nat Turner or a Denmark Visa or a Gabriel Prosser. All right, you can't go out there with less than that. And we have lowered our standards. And we are just simply accepting people who get access to the airwaves and to the media to dupe us and to mislead us. You know, as I always say, I said this a few weeks ago, I said, you know, when the wolf looks out the window and sees a Judas goat leading the sheep, the wolf goes back and prepares his dinner of lamb chops. All right? See, that's what happens when you go out and march. The more marches we are engaged in, the worse our conditions get. Every time there's a march, there's more killings and more assassination. Because the wolf looks out the window and see a Judas goat leading the sheep. And the wolf is always at war with the sheep. There's nothing in the nature of a wolf that will stop the wolf from devouring the sheep. I don't many degrees you have. I don't care how much money you have in the bank. I don't care how much good service that you've done. As long as there's a wolf out there and you are the sheep, it's all over. That's what the struggle is about. You see, the tragedy here, and I'm going to be through with it. The tragedy is, I ask myself this, how does somebody like myself, who came to this town and was involved in every movement, in every struggle, how is it now that that person has been in exile? How is it that this person who has been involved in every struggle, not any other lawyer, but this lawyer?
We're still slaves.
They weren't involved. You can't name another lawyer who even walked anywhere near the footsteps.
No.
And how is it now that the lawyer who walked and fought on every score cannot be heard anyway? Serious problem. It's a serious problem. This shows you where we have gotten to as a people. You know, I was, a few days ago, the Gina 6. And, you know, I said, gee, it's another tragedy because, you see, they come in sixes. You see, the Central Park 6, of which I was a part of. All right?
Yes, sir.
And I saw 5 other innocent young boys go to prison. Some for more than a decade. All right? Because everybody was afraid to speak out and to speak up. I remember I went in there with Gallagher and went toe to toe and nose to nose with him. He was the judge. With reckless abandonment, because if you are not reckless, and if you don't abandon your concerns for the good life, you can't represent nobody. When you go to that courthouse every day, you got to go in there with a warring spirit. And taking no names. And when you saw what Brown captured here, that's what you saw. Yes, sir. All right, we went in the courthouses and took over the courtrooms and ran the judges off the bench. All right, that's what was going on there. We weren't taking no crap off of nobody. You know, nobody had to be some little deputy Uncle Tom to be acceptable. You don't have to be that. And so when I looked at the Gina 6, and when people were down to 17th and 20th, you know, I'm one for analysis. Regardless of what happened, I'm for analysis. I analyze things. All right? See, when they sued me with Tawana Brawley, the reason why I won, because I had already analyzed it. And when the lawyer for Pagonas got up, he said, we're not going to call Maddox. We're not going to call Maddox. In fact, he said at the end, it was a mistake for us. You put your name on the complaint. All right, you should have left him alone. And I tell people today, I said, no, I didn't lose at all. And all that you got to do is have some analytical skills and go there and look at the verdict sheet.
Thank you.
And realize that I won. There's a reason why I still call Stephen Pagoda a kidnapping or rapist. Because the jury of 5 whites and 2 blacks
Yes,
said that Maddox should keep on doing what he's doing.
that's right.
All right? That's what they said at the end. He should keep on doing what he's doing. This wasn't the first time. I got sued in Howard Beach. When Hines and those came up with one strategy and I came up with another, and Hines said, well, law enforcement wasn't involved in the killing of Michael Griffin. And I said, oh, yes, it was. It was a cop who led the charge. And I got sued. And I didn't go to court and fight that. But I won. See, and they don't tell, they don't say those kind of things later. see, after that, they don't say that, they just drop it. See, when the judge dismissed the case and said that I was telling the truth, that some law enforcement official was involved in the Michael Griffith case, then they dropped it. All right, and the reason why is because a cop saw a white mob chasing 3 blacks and automatically assumed that the blacks had been up to no good. Never calculated that they were being run out of a community because of white supremacy. Never calculated that. But just made the decision that these Negroes are no good, and this cop ran Michael Griffith down. But then they changed the script. And I didn't go along with the script, so I said, no, that ain't the script. And then they said, well, we're going to sue you and take your license. So I could have been gone in '87. But we talking about real struggle. Well, when you get back to Gina 6, I said, wait a minute. When y'all went down there on 1720, y'all should have brought Michael Bell with y'all. Y'all should have brought him back. Everybody, where you be? I said, only thing you had to understand is that this is double jeopardy. This is double jeopardy. You can't try somebody in adult court and the appellate court reverse the judgment, find that there was no evidence to support the conviction, and that there also was no jurisdiction to adjudicate the claim, and then you turn around and say, we're going to prosecute you again in juvenile court. That's double jeopardy. Now, what happened was, you know, everybody wanted to say, well, that nigga don't know what he's talking about. He suspended this bar, you know, just like I done lost my mind and forgot all the law that I ever knew. You know, and here I am, have remembered more law, forgotten more law rather than many niggas ever learned. All right? And so what did they do? They waited about 6 weeks. Lay dead. After I wrote the article, I said, wait a minute, this is double jeopardy. They lay dead. Don't make no splash out right now. All right? Wait about 6 weeks. Then we'll quietly file a motion. I heard the dad on the radio the other day. He said, the only hope that we got for my son now, I ain't even talked to the dad, they ain't talked to me. But you know what he said? He said, the only hope for my son of not being convicted in juvenile court is the motion that the lawyers filed belatedly. He didn't say the word belatedly, but that's what happened. Claiming double jeopardy. Let me tell you something. At some point, Michael Bell is coming out. And he's coming out on a claim of double jeopardy. You see, the pen is mightier than the sword. You understand? You see, people say, well, you know, you can't practice law no more. Yeah, well, I can get around that. I went from being a pro bono lawyer to a pro se lawyer. All right, I'm still a lawyer. All right? The only thing is, I'm just a pro se lawyer today. I'm not a pro bono lawyer anymore, but I'm still in the courtroom. I'll be there tomorrow morning. All right? I'll be there tomorrow morning. You know, white folks can't stop us. That's what we got to understand. You know, they can't stop us. All right? I can advocate in more ways than one. You know, I can get Bill Taylor let me write an article every week. Again, another case of pro bono writing. All right? All right? But that's what I'm doing. But it's advocacy. You see, it's still advocacy. It's still raising arguments and raising the issues. You see, because I went to law for one reason. and it wasn't to make money. I went in law because I recognized that black people need legal representation.
Yeah.
All right? That's why I went in law for. That's why I used to do it. I didn't make any money practicing law. I could have made much. There were many clients who wanted to bring $1 million to the office. And some of the major drug dealers and killers in this area, all right, were calling my phone, ringing off the hook. I'm getting ready to face life in prison. I give you whatever you want. All right? To get me off the hook. Now, that's real. Some of the biggest gangsters in New York was bugging me constantly. But I had a mission already. I know what the struggle's about. You know, I want to end with this because I could really preach tonight, Dr. Day, but I'm not. And I really got so much to say. I got so many people to thank. I won't be able to do it. You know, I want you to understand that because I said that we're going to be moving out here rather quickly. All right, I don't want to violate my own rules. See, I had Dr. Jeffrey move the rest of the program along. I don't want him to think that now, since I got the microphone, that I got amnesia, all right? So I don't want to do that. So I'm not going to do that. You know, there may be another time, all right, where I have a greater opportunity. I want everybody to accept it in the spirit in which it's given. You know, there's deep love. I can't cover everything. I can't acknowledge everybody. You know, I can't. But I want to say this finally. And then we'll roll. A couple years ago, I had a conversation with Clara Jones. And I said, Clara, you've been around the movement, the struggles that we've been involved in, particularly the Brawley case from day one. I said, you have an immense amount of knowledge. I said, there's a lot of other people who similarly have knowledge and information about this movement. And I said that then, I said, but you know, this movement won't mean anything if we don't memorialize it. It won't mean anything if we don't memorialize it, if we don't put it all in writing, and we don't mention and give credit. You see, that needs to be a book that is written now. You know, that talks about the Ruby Wayans and the Roy Kentons. You know, and all the other people who have struggled and who are no longer with us, who talk about the contributions that they make so that even their grandchildren one day can open that book up. You see, and understand that this struggle was about little people. You see, the one thing about movement, especially where they are now, the establishment comes down and make deals. See, we've had some wonderful people. You know, I mean, I love working with Mason. I love working with Shelton. All right? But the establishment understood the significance of us not being together. See, they understood the significance of that. You see, so while they can buy off leaders, but they can't buy off the people. Because it's too expensive to buy off the people. See, it's easy to buy off one or two. But when you got to buy off me, that's too expensive. You see, and that's why this story has to be told of the little people. Those who never got their name in the newspapers, never got their faces on television, never got their voices on radio. But was a driving force behind this struggle. And their names have to be recognized. I remember when I was a little boy down in Noonan, Georgia. And I learned a lot of valuable lessons coming out of a small town. A lot of people don't realize that. You can learn a lot by being country. All right? You can learn a lot by being country. See, I know that, you know, when you get to the city, everybody yells, old country digger, and the Eastern bomber and all that. You know, we got all these kind of phrases that we use. You know what I mean? But it's something important by growing up in the backwoods of Georgia. You see, you don't have all these distractions and you can focus on things. And you know, I remember my mother had these books. And I opened up these books and they were about people who were my neighbors, who had made contributions. It wasn't just about the Frederick Douglasses, but it was the little people who had made contributions. And I said, you know, that's where we got to start history. We got to start history with the little people. And so the dream that I had with Clara 2 years ago, that dream is still unfulfilled. But tonight, we hope that this will be the beginning, you see, of something great. Next Wednesday, we will have a fantastic journal. It will be printed. It will be ready for distribution. They're going to pass out envelopes tonight. I hope everybody purchase one. All right? Because there's a tremendous amount of work that we put in it. Tremendous amount of work. It will come out next week. And I'm telling you, aside from memorializing many of the people who were involved, there is an excellent legal section in that journal. It's very voluminous. It's a lot of information. It's a lot of law, a lot of cases. It's that connection. It's that history and that economics and that law and that politics that's all brought up together. Because you see, beyond everything else, we got to get that full understanding. I wrote an article in Amsterdam News this week. Anybody read it? Yeah. All right. I talk about two lawyers out in Chattanooga. Two black lawyers who represented Ed Johnson went to the U.S. Supreme Court. They ended up getting to the Supreme Court to have the only trial ever in the Supreme Court. Y'all hear me? Two black lawyers. They don't teach you this stuff. Nobody else has ever had a trial in the U.S. Supreme Court other than these two black lawyers. Never in American jurisprudence. That's how brilliant they were. And got the U.S. Supreme Court to incarcerate the sheriff, the night jailer, and 4 other members of the bar that lynched Ed Johnson. You need to go back and read that. All right, you need to go back and read that. And you see, the connection is the connection with this. And this is where history and Malcolm was so beautiful. You see, the words that they give us are so important. Malcolm said, of all the disciplines, history is best qualified to reward our research. Everybody understand that? Yes, sir. Of all the disciplines, history is best qualified to reward our research. That's what Malcolm X said. And that's so real. Every week, when I get ready to write, I have categories of things that I have to make sense of. I got to first understand the history of the article that I'm writing. Then I got to understand the economics, the politics, the law. And then I got to understand the critical thinking and logical skills that got to be employed to bring all of that together. That's very important. Every week. That has to be done. And when I looked into the research, about this case of Ed Johnson being lynched in Chattanooga, Tennessee, I discovered one thing. The newspaper in Chattanooga was the Chattanooga Times. The newspaper was the Chattanooga Times, and it was the Chattanooga Times that sicked the mob on Ed Johnson. It was the New York Times that went after us. And they wrote a book, Outrage, the story of the Brawley hoax. They wrote a whole book to defame and destroy us and call for the end of us. And with two of us, it succeeded. Sharpton, unfortunately, because I was able to represent him, where I couldn't get nobody to represent me. That's how he was fortunate. If it was not for that, he would be doing push-ups tonight in the state penitentiary. That's a fact. That's a fact. This very night. And the video committee called me in when they realized that I was going to walk him on 7 counts. And they called me in and said, Maddox, one of y'all is going to be hurt. And if you remember, Mr. Brown, John D. and others, we went on to the court. They suspended the trial and brought me over to the grievance committee. And when they got over there, they said, it's either you or Sharp. Now, when I made the decision that it was going to be me, I didn't make it because I had any love for Sharp. But I wanted to show white folks I wasn't no punk. All right. I wanted to show white folks I wasn't no punk. All right, you don't bring that mess to me. This ain't got nothing to do with Sharp. It got something to do with me then. You don't put me on the line. You drag Sharp out the way. It's about Maddox. You see, but then you realize that white supremacy behaves the same, whether it's 1909 or 2007. It never changes. White supremacy behaves the same, regardless of what date is on the calendar. You see, there's a New York Times out there every morning. And they do that kind of hatchet job. Then 1 year later, they went to Jeffries. They went to Jeffries. This was systematic. Because what they were saying was, black people can only have the leadership that we put in place. All right? If you Negroes don't want to follow Floyd Flake and Charlie Raymond, all right, and Calvin Butts, all right, it ain't gonna be nobody else. Come on, don't worry about everybody else. Because once you begin to have independent black leaders who defend you and stand for you, then you might be on your road to liberation. All right, and that's what you want to follow. Negroes talk about, well, the Brawley case. No, the Brawley case ain't over because black folks don't have the right of representation yet. Anytime that I can ask every black politician in this city to come out tonight and nobody show, anytime that I can ask every black politician to write a letter on my behalf 4 years ago, and nobody write one. All right? I got to tell you everything you need to know. I gotta tell you everything you need to know. And life is not easy the way that I live it. It's not easy. You know, I mean, how many times do you get a wife who works up to 4 jobs? All right? How many times do you get that? Every day of the week. Monday through Sunday. Gets up early. Comes back after 1 o'clock at night. And up next morning, that same morning at 6. That's what we're talking about. In terms of serious struggles. So we have a lot to be thankful for. You know, I have a lot to be thankful for. In terms of all of the things that we have done, all of the things that we have accomplished. We have that. I want to end by just simply saying that there's so many people I would like to thank tonight, but we don't have the time. And when I finish acknowledging this committee, then we will be through for the evening. Other accolades will follow on another occasion. But I do want to thank this committee for doing a supreme job, not just for the night, but for the journal and all of that. And I want to start off by thanking Sister Geneva Butts.
Yes.
Now, Sister Butts, a few moments ago before I came up here, she gave me the list and she said, make me a member of the committee, but don't say that I was the chair of the committee. And I said, well, is there any reason for that? And so she said, well, you know, because Sister Russell really did a tremendous job.
Amen.
Yes.
And I said, well, that doesn't take away from you being the chairperson. Because you see, Sister Russell is an ex officio officer. Her job is to sit on all committees. All right, and make them tick. All right, so your concern for Sister Russell being given credit, you see, is not valid because Sister Russell just serves in that capacity. But I want to thank Sister Butts for chairing this committee, and I want to thank Supreme Phillips, who is not here tonight, but just was a master stroke. I mean, really, in putting the journal together, a whiz. All right, Supreme Phillips. I really want to thank her so much for being blessed with so many clues. I want to thank Clarence Dudley, Zenobia Wilson, Judy McNeil, Cleopatra Parker, Eugene Gervin, William Taylor, Alma Pendleton, Elsie Turner, Margaret Bradley, Mercy Oduku, Geneva Butts, as I said before, and James Paddock. Let's give all of them a warm welcome.
Let's at least have the decency to leave together when the brother...
In fact, don't nobody leave. All right, don't nobody leave right now. While you finish applauding, I want everybody to stand. Let's always leave in unity. Let's always leave in unity. Let's not have any weak chains and weak links interchange. Let us always leave in unity. You know, you see, the one thing about zebras, if zebra was sitting up here tonight, no zebra would leave ahead of other zebras. Y'all hear me? You wouldn't find a zebra say, I'm getting ready to go now. All right? Yeah, I know there are lions out there, but I'm going to take my chance. All right? See, zebras don't do that. They got enough sense to know, hey, man, I don't care how bad this thing get. I ain't going out there until the rest of us going. We going in a pack. You see, we all the people that will bust out and start leaving one by one. Okay? I want everybody to hold hands. We are an African people. We're off of our homeland. We're off of our names, our languages, our cultures, our religion. I want to stop. Before I resume, I got one last thing to say. And that is on Friday evening, I want you to check the program. We're going to be with Sister Beverly Sims in the Bronx. The location is on the program. And came out to UAM every Wednesday night.
Every Wednesday.
So we want to be with her this coming Friday evening in in the Bronx. It's on your program. All of the information that you need. Open it up and read it. Now we will resume.
Thank you.
Brought our homeland, brought our names, our languages, our cultures, our religions, our womanhood, our manhood, our sisterhood, our brotherhood, our motherhood, our fatherhood, our selfhood, our nationhood, and our self-respect. But we shall rise, never fall again. Oh, United Race, you can accomplish what you will. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice. No peace. All right. Call somebody again.
Never recovered from that.
Well, you know,
And that picture you took showed it.
okay.
Okay. All right. We're honored to be here in the presence of Mr. Chris McNair, the father of Denise McNair, one of the young girls who was killed in the bombing of 16th Street Baptist Church on September 15th, 1963. He has been, over the years, a servant of the community, a servant of people, a lover of people, a businessman, photographer, and I believe a legislator in Montgomery, served in the Montgomery State House.
Yeah, three times.
Three terms. And
Well,
he's-
parts. It wasn't full terms. One was a full term. The other two were parts of terms.
He's been active in community affairs forever. And he was has very graciously consented to grant us the privilege of this interview. And I'm very happy that Reverend Alan Hand and Reverend Clemson Brown have come down from Brooklyn with me to be here to share on this occasion. We will never forget the sacrifice that was made by the deaths of those 4 little girls that shocked the nation and shocked the world, and we will never forget it. But Mr. McNair has been very gracious to grant us this interview, and I would begin by asking, if you don't mind, could you give us kind of a brief history of you, where you are, how you got to be who you are, what you have been doing over the years?
Well, I've been trying to survive. It sounds funny saying it, but it's the truth. I think I told you earlier that I moved Denise's body from Shalom to Elmwood, and it's right down the street there. I'd like to take you there before you go. But I've been in the legislature, as you said, and I've served parts of 3 terms there. And I was in my 4th term as a county commissioner when I just plain got tired and I resigned. I left 19 months on my term. And photography, as you know, it has changed drastically. We still do a little photography. We do a little